The NASCAR Cup Series races at Road America for the first time since the 1950s and on 4th of July of all weekends. Does NASCAR have a new 4th of July NASCAR weekend tradition on its hands, or did today's race kind of underwhelm fans both at the track and at home watching on TV? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove on the Go. Just got back from Road America. This is not my normal setup. This is not even a hotel. I'm staying with Jarrett and his grandparents. You'll recognize this backdrop from the NASCAR Weekly podcast from the iceberg, of course. I got the Chevelle back there. I got some fireworks. Those that will be used later tonight, of course, safely, of course. I am hot. I am sweaty. I am exhausted after a couple eventful days at Road America. We're going to talk all about today's NASCAR Cup Series event, the Jockey Made in America 250, and what a coincidence, this episode is sponsored by Jockey. It was cool to see their signage and everything around the racetrack this weekend. It's great to see, a locally based company supporting NASCAR's return to the great state of Wisconsin. They've recently sent me some of their super comfortable premium cotton white t-shirts made from cotton grown and sewn in America. Jockey, made in the USA. Always remember that when you're supporting Jockey, you're supporting American workers who've been crafting comfort since 1876. There's only one Jockey, and it was great to be out at the Jockey Made in America 250 at Road America. It was a fantastic event on the ground. It was hot, it was toasty, but the grandstands, the hillsides were absolutely jam-packed. It was amazing. Thank you to Jockey for supporting NASCAR and supporting this episode of Out of the Groove. Now, there's a lot to talk about, and I want to preface this episode by saying quite simply that I probably missed a lot of details today. I was walking all up and down, the backstretch back by the kink. I was out in turn 12. I was up on the hill overlooking turn 5, turns 13 and 14 most of the day. I was all over. I was out by the front stretch towards the end of the race, so I saw nearly every nook and cranny of this place. But Road America, as great of a venue as it is, they don't have every single section of track covered with big screens and radio, audio being piped through the loudspeakers. So there are portions of this race where I look up and be like, oh wait, why is Austin Cindric 30th? Wasn't he just in the top 5? So there's a few details I'm probably going to miss, but I want to focus on this event as a whole, because NASCAR the last couple of years has tried some different things regarding these big marquee weekends. For years, since I've been a fan, 4th of July weekend, Independence Day weekend has been reserved for Daytona. The Coke Zero 400 and Firecracker 400, whatever the Xfinity race is called. But recently, NASCAR's tried some different things. They tried running the Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400 on this weekend last year to try and revitalize that event a little bit, and it had some positive effects. Remember, the ratings last year for the Brickyard were significantly higher than recent Brickyard 400s, but still, there's COVID, of course, last year, so that sort of jaded our view of that race. But still, Indianapolis in July, I don't think had anyone that excited. It is toasty out there. So this year, NASCAR tried something different. They brought Road America back to the Cup Series schedule for the first time in more than 60 years. And it just made sense. 4th of July, American independence being celebrated at Road America, of all places. It just made sense, at least as far as naming is concerned. NASCAR went on a spree this offseason, adding road course races left and right. Road America has been one of the most highly anticipated weekends of the season. Coming into today, there are estimates that over 100, 150, some estimates said as high as 175,000 fans were going to turn out into the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin for this race. And I will say traffic getting out wasn't too bad, but certainly inside the facility, like I said, every hillside was packed. There were very few, if any, shaded spots left open. It looked like a big event crowd out there in person. Now, I filmed the whole thing, so later this week, you guys will see my Road America at track vlog experience. I can't wait to share that with you. You'll see more images and stuff, firsthand. But let me just say, this felt like a big event. I have not been to the Brickyard. I've not been to the Brickyard 400 since 2007. I don't remember it very well, but at least from what we've seen on TV and social media, the last 5, 8, 7, years of the Brickyard 400 did not look like what Road America looked like here today. Road America today looked like a big-time, huge weekend event. There was an excitement in the air that has not existed for the Brickyard 400 for many, many years. It was exciting to see this race in person. Now, I love Daytona. I love Daytona on July 4th. They run it on Saturday night or Sunday. They run a night race, and it was fantastic. I look forward to it every single year, but with the playoffs and the way stage rate, everything's incorporated, the way the format is right now, I think NASCAR was genius to move Daytona to the regular season finale. If you're gonna have 2 Daytona races before the playoffs start anyway, I think it makes a ton of sense to amplify the drama to the nth degree by putting it at the very end of the regular season. Last year's race, when Byron, remember, got his first win, and it was a clutch win because he was right there teetering on that playoff cut line, that was huge. The drama in that race was amazing. NASCAR made a brilliant decision putting Daytona as the regular season finale. So the question then turns to what venue should fill the July 4th slot, and I think Road America lived up to the hype today as far as the at-track experience goes. I would gladly go back to Road America for another NASCAR event. I'd go back for an IndyCar IMSA event. Heck, I mean, Road America, it was a great venue. It was different than any road course, any sort of NASCAR track I've been to before. Granted, I've only been to like a couple road courses, period, but it was so unique and so interesting. There's new details around every single corner. Every hillside was a little bit different. Every view of the track was a little bit different. It was great. Surprises around every corner. I loved being at Road America for this weekend, and I believe that we might have a winner here. This may be the next new NASCAR 4th of July tradition. I don't think Daytona's coming back. I think its spot at the end of the regular season is perfect, and I don't think there's any other track on the schedule that would be capable of putting together as large scale of an event as Road America did here today. I mean, I don't know if they got to 150, 175,000 fans, but I definitely believe they got over 100,000 fans. The campgrounds were packed. Campers everywhere. This was a camping weekend. I'll have to come back here next time and camp because that seems like the best way to do it. Now, I will talk a little bit about the race itself. I mean, Chase Elliott kind of stunk up the show there in stage 3. You know, it was kind of left open-ended after stage 1, stage 2. Elliott was up there in contention, but there were other guys like Matt DiBenedetto leading laps, looking fast. Austin Cindric early on, making only like his 5th or 6th Cup Series start ever. He was competitive until he had technical issues. I think he maybe had a transmission issue. Again, there are a lot of details I don't fully know because I didn't have internet and I often was not near a loudspeaker or my scanner didn't work, or you know, wherever. So apologies if I get a few of those details wrong. Either way, Cindric spent some time at the garage, ruined his afternoon. But focusing on the top finishers, Chase Elliott gets his 7th career road course win in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's ridiculous. He really is. I mean, he is just the best. When he gets into a rhythm, there's no one who can chase him down. He had, you know, Kyle Busch, other Joe Gibbs racing cars. He had his teammate Kyle Larson, William Byron were up there in contention a lot of the day, and none of them had anything for Chase Elliott, especially once he got out front, once he was setting the pace, once fuel strategy was no longer really in play. No one had any hopes of catching Chase Elliott. So Chase Elliott gets the win. It's his 2nd road course win this season alone. Hendrick Motorsports continues to just bowl through the competition. Doesn't seem to matter what type of track. They always have at least one of their drivers right there contending for the victory. Today, Chase Elliott, I don't know what the final margin of victory was. It was probably at least 5 or 6 seconds over Christopher Bell, which kudos to Christopher Bell. He mounted a heck of a charge late in this race, drove through the top 5, got by his teammate Kyle Busch, but unlike the Daytona road course earlier this year, this time Bell did not have enough to catch Chase Elliott and run him down. So congrats to Chase Elliott. The rest of the top 5 here, Kyle Busch, another very solid run. He got one of those wins at Pocono last weekend, so good momentum for Kyle Busch right now as we head into the summer months, amping up for the playoffs. Good time to be peaking if you're the 18 team. His brother Kurt Busch gets a top 5 after all the news this week about Chip Ganassi, how they're being sold to Trackhouse at the end of this season. Both Ross Chastain and Kurt Busch had great runs today. Both finished inside the top 10. Kurt Busch finishing 4th. Great for him as he continues to put some distance between himself and the playoff cut line. He's inside the top 16. He's trying to build that gap up as much as he possibly can. Ross Chastain, great run as well, trying to stay in playoff contention. Tyler Reddick finishes 8th, another driver who's currently inside the top 16 in points, and he was basically handed a stage win in stage 2 when a bunch of leaders pit to, you know, try and set themselves up for the final stage. Tyler Reddick had, you know, 10 stage points and a playoff point just dropped in his lap, so I'm sure he took that with a smile on his face. I don't want to overlook a couple other guys. Matt DiBenedetto gets a top 10. He led some laps early on. Thought this maybe was going to be DiBenedetto's day or he'd be in contention late. Didn't have anything for, you know, the Hendrick and Gibbs cars at the end there, but still a good run. Chase Briscoe gets a top 10 as well. It's been well documented that SHR has struggled this year, but Briscoe, supposed to be a great road course racer, he showed it here today. Great run for Briscoe. And, you know, I mentioned how Cindric had some speed, but, you know, had issues and was forced to go to the garage area. There were other drivers that faced early ends to their day as well. Daniel Suarez blew a transmission like on lap 2. They were able to get it repaired, but he finished the race many laps down. Other drivers like Anthony Alfredo brought out the final caution in this race, getting stuck out in the dirt somewhere. Keselowski got off track. I think Kurt Hamlin got off track at some point or another. You know, late in the race, there was some teammate drama. Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman were both battling inside, I believe inside the top 10, when Bowman maybe made a late move. I think it was going into turn 5, and, you know, Larson sort of came down on him. Not really sure who's fully to blame there, but it sent Larson around. According to Bob Pockrass, both drivers talked on pit road after the race, and smiles were seen, so teammates aren't going to hold each other too much against each other, but still, that was certainly dramatic. Larson and Bowman should have had much better finishes than they ended up with. I know I saw Corey LaJoie in person off track 2 or 3 times, so definitely a hectic day. Not a whole lot of yellows, no like big crashes in the Cup race here today, but plenty of spins. I thought overall, NASCAR officiated this race pretty well. I know there was some drama around qualifying that I have not fully caught up on. You know, when they chose to throw the caution, screwed some people's laps up, it sounds like. So I'm not sure about qualifying, but as far as the race is concerned, I thought NASCAR called a pretty solid race. Still think it's a good idea to explore local yellows, especially at big road courses like Road America, more than 4 miles long. Didn't come into play too heavily here in the Cup race, but especially in the Xfinity race yesterday, there was 1 or 2 instances where I thought a local yellow would have been perfect. But still, overall, solid race today. Let's go ahead and put this thing on the groovy gauge. That's right, it followed me all the way to Jarrett's place. This is an interesting one to score. Again, I'm gonna have to go back and watch a lot of it on TV because in person, it was really cool. Part of my mind was just blown by, you know, watching the drivers fly around the back straight right before the kink, before turn 12, seeing them go to maybe one wheel off in the dirt a little bit, kick some dust up. Like, seeing certain corners of this racetrack in person was awesome, was an amazing experience. But I also missed some of the bigger picture details as well. So it's gonna be hard for me to really accurately score this until I go back and watch it more on TV. One thing that was clear from watching the race on the hill was that, you know, it didn't end dramatically. I mean, Chase Elliott was gone. Nobody was catching Chase Elliott. There's the drama between Bowman and Larson that kept things fresh, got some people out of their seats. Everyone kind of stood up and was like, whoa, whoa, what just happened? So there were definitely moments, but the ultimate ending of this race was not really in doubt through most of stage 3. So kind of an anticlimactic finish. Stage 1 I thought was also pretty lackluster. I was trying to watch the top 10. I don't think there were any passes per position inside the top 10 in stage 1. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 like on the initial start, but nobody was making any passes early in this race. Stage 2, ironically, stage 2 is usually the dry middle stage. I thought stage 2 was pretty entertaining today, and then stage 3 was just the Chase Elliott show. It looked hard to pass out there. Not as many passing zones as I think people maybe anticipated, but still a decent show. And for this being, you know, so many of these drivers' first time at Road America, definitely in a Cup car, in some cases in any car ever, or at least in a long, long time, I thought it went pretty well. And nobody like embarrassed themselves. The sport did not embarrass themselves. In fact, the sport looks pretty dang great after today with over 100,000 fans packed into, again, a small town in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. NASCAR brought all the people out here to celebrate Independence Day, to celebrate the 4th of July. That looks really good for the sport. So all these things considered, racing was okay. Event was fantastic. That's really all I can judge it off of because that's what I saw here today was the event part of it. I'm gonna give this race a 65% on the groovy gauge. The on-track action is what matters most and most importantly. And to me, it was hit or miss. A little harder to pass than I would have liked, and you know, the ending was not particularly exciting, I have to say. So I'm gonna give it a 65% because it was still different, it was still new and unique, and you had some great moments. You could tell guys were hustling the cars real hard. The best drivers and teams bubbled to the top, and anytime that happens, to me, that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing when the best drivers get the chance to put their skills on full display. Chase Elliott did just that, so deserving winner. That gets a few points in my book. A 65 on the groovy gauge. That is my score. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of today's Road America race. I am so sweaty. I am so sore filming this in a garage. It is still hot out here, but thank you all for bearing with me. I'll be back in town, back in my studio tomorrow. So this week, I'll be kicking back, relaxing, and we'll be getting back to the out of the groove daily grind. I cannot wait. We have a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff's been going on recently. We've got to discuss all of it and much, much more this week. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you all for watching this episode. As always, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I couldn't do the show without your tremendous support. Thank you to everyone who came up and said hi to me at the racetrack this weekend. Really, that does really mean a lot to me as well. It's great to see some of y'all in person, to shake hands and talk a little bit of racing. That was awesome. Thank you all so much for the support. Again, I'll be back this week. Plenty more to talk about. Road America video coming out very, very soon. I appreciate the support, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your 4th of July.